Excellent, thank you.
So because I've created this peg, which connects to the head one, I can move the eyes on their own. And because the pupil peg, which is this one here, connects to the eye peg, when the eyes move on their own, the pupils will move with it as well. So if you have the eyes like slide down the face, the pupils are also going to join in that motion. In the same manner, we've got the pupil peg here, so when we move the pupils, if we have them look from right to left, we use that peg to move them from right to left. The pupil highlight peg is also connected to that, so it will follow on that motion.
And if you didn't do these pegs and just connect it to the head, what would happen?
If you just connected it to the head, everything would move with the head, but when you move the eyes, the pupil and the pupil highlight wouldn't move with it, so you just have the sockets move on their own, and the pupils would stay where they're at.
So you only have to make one extra green one before you connect it to the head?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for things like the upper lid and lower lid, they're not going to move with the pupils, but they will move with the eyes. The brow is not going to move with the eyes at all. The brow is just going to move with the head. So we connect that like that. So it's just using...
Wow, you really need to know what? That's going to be so confusing.
It's like what is the name of the cartoon skeletons? It's like the song of like the right knee is connected to the
thigh bone and all.
So you just go through and think about what do I want to move at the same time as this element.
It's going to be so complicated for my fat pig character with the loads of boobs.
Yeah, but that will all just connect to the body peg, won't it? And then it'll move around in itself. You'll just be breaking up into individual elements.
Okay, well, when I create it, I'm definitely going to need your help.
No, don't worry. So finish doing the rigging first, because you need to do the cutting and stuff. When you do that, you'll copy and you'll do paste special, which is copy, and then there's paste special here. Call me over that and I'll show you the settings.
Okay.
But yeah, that then will connect to the head peg over there on its own individual.
Okay, thanks.
On the eye layer in the timeline, I'm on the line art layer on the right hand side of the canvas. I select just with the black selection tool, just the area of the color. I do Control C to copy, delete to get rid, and when I select the color art layer, I do Control V. You see it reappears there.
Control V for victory.
Yeah. And now it just appears
in
the color layer. And when you do that for each individual element.
So
if you're trying to copy something and you find that you can't select it, it's normally because you're still selected on the color.
I've done that already.
Yeah. And then.
So what did you? So that because mine was on what before?
So this light bulb here means just it shows the layer that you've currently got selected, and it fades everything else out. This can be useful, but sometimes it makes it a bit complicated and difficult to see what it is you're actually editing at the time. Thank you.
Can I just? How did you get this selection tool to do the square like around it?
You just click once on the thing and it'll select.
Oh yeah. Okay, thanks.
Line art and colour art and composition and cutter and stuff so that it doesn't cross over into the eye too much. I've also added an overlay layer just to add this little crossover bit here. Don't worry about that too much yet, we'll get to that when we do limbs. But I just wanted to show you the deformer tool. So if you have any elements like big floppy ears or hair or anything which might flow around, there's this tool up here. You see it looks like a hammer and a spanner next to each other. It's called a rigging tool. When I have my drawing selected, I'm going to select the rigging tool and create a base point. Hold on, actually. Okay, I'm going to create an anchor point down where it joins, one in the middle that I want the thing to deform around, and then one at the end. You see it creates this kind of structure here. I can change this circle here, which will affect the amount of deforming, and now, when I go to the transform tool, which is what we use to move stuff around, I can warp and change the shape of this ear like this around this anchor point that I've made there. So I can have this move around between like that. And it's just a very simple way to have some additional kind of softer motion. So with the looking around, I can go from here in the timeline to where is here. I can start off the keyframe there. I can go a bit further in and move it down and move it up. you'll see as it moves around there. Like that. So it's a quick way to add some of the softer motion to your stuff. Deformer can also be used if I go onto my head drawing there. I can add a deformer. I can use this to now edit the jaw. I can have a bit of moving around of the jaw, a bit of moving back and forth, edit the bottom of the head. It's not perfect, but it's just enough to give you that little bonus bit there, like so. Actually, if we make this smaller still. Takes a bit of messing around to make sure that you've got it as you would like it. But it's just a little bit of extra control that you can have over your character designs, like that. See? So now I can use this to do jaw movements down there. Okay.
So if you basically make a mistake, how do you go back and delete the thing?
You just undo.
Undo, okay. Even if you've added it to the timeline, you can just even if you've added it to the timeline, you can just undo it.
Same as undoing a head program. So for instance, what you're talking about with your character design Toonboom, this will be really useful for because you can create these oval shapes, and you can use the deformer here to have that kind of
Yeah, that's great.
like that. See?
Following the videos, and it just says to do that.
So next will be pupil. Yeah, so we're moving this around. So we have that same setup under the pupil layer here. So you separate this out, add a composite there, and then that's where the cutter comes in on this layer there.
Okay, so only on the eye and the pupil,
Yeah.
I need those. And the cutter goes...
You'll do this setup for each individual one.
Oh, right.
Again, because it's how we control these two independently. The cutter is to add to your eye to say, don't go anywhere where the color art on FI isn't. But that should be in the video.
So don't... Hang on. So basically, I'm using the cutter for...
You attach the cutter to the pupil.
Yeah.
And you use it to reference the eye layer. So we drag it in to here. So it's connected to the pupil, through that main one, and then we make the dotted line read from the color. Click that to invert it, and now...
I have to invert it.
Yeah.
Only that one I invert.
Yeah. You'll invert the others as well. Because inverted means hold up. So you see now it disappears.
Yeah.
To the edge. So inverted in this case, where it has the white background and the black mask, that means that this object is only allowed to exist where this exists. Whereas this version means you can see it everywhere except where this exists, which is the reverse of what we want.
Okay.
So it's the difference of saying like this pen can only be seen around this notebook, but not when it crosses over to it. And the difference between saying this pen can only be seen on the inside of this notebook, and the moment it strays out of it, we can't see that anymore.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So basically, I'll always have to use the cutter where I want an object to stay inside something.
Yes.
Only the cutter.
Yeah.
Does that? Okay. All right.
You just click and you drag further on.
Oh, but I mean to play the picture. I mean.
Oh, okay. So what I like to do is I hide all of that, so I expand it or collapse it down. I do
By
Control
pressing the
A,
arrow.
which selects all the layers.
Control
And
A,
you won't want to do Control A if you have multiple different elements on screen. And you go to the end and you do F5. And that extends the drawings there.
Oh, okay. So now I can make it move
Yeah.
at different stages. Okay, thanks. Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And then you can click that to get it all to show up again.
Thank you. So how can you find out what I've done wrong?
I'm gonna go through it and see.
Well, I copied and pasted it, the right eye that I
oh.
did, and then I put it to the left.
Okay, yeah.
I copied and pasted everything, so is that the wrong thing to do?
It depends whether you pasted special or not.
Pasted special?
Yeah, hold on.
Well, I don't think I did that.
Oh, is that all on? Oh.
Harry.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like on this layer.
It's got to be something because maybe I copied it then, isn't it? Because I didn't do anything special.
Yeah, so these boxes that you've got here
Yeah.
are on the line art layer for the forward eye, rather than so they're on the same layer as this here. Okay.
So when I copied and pasted it, what was I supposed to do?
Paste special. I think you copy and pasted the drawings across instead. So you see we've got on this layer you have the color here for this eye, which is the right hand one. That's good. But you also on the line art layer have the lines for the right hand eye as well, which we don't want. If I go,
How do you copy and paste special then?
so let's see. So everything on this eye works fine. I'm just gonna delete the left eye. Yeah, that is still there. So I'm gonna go through. So brow, yes. Lid, yes. Whole eye. Delete extra. X. This is head, so I don't want the head.
Oh, you don't want the head?
No, I don't want to copy and paste across the head. Because the head, there's only one head.
Okay.
So I'm going to select all of the eye layers and nodes and do edit, copy selection, and then I'm going to move further away and do edit, paste special.
Oh, that's
And
why
that
I
makes
didn't
this
do.
window sharp. So do always create drawing files, and that'll mean it will create new drawing files which are identical to the old ones, but you can edit on your own and then create new columns as well, which means it's not going to replicate the tweens and stuff. That makes all of these appear, so I'm going to drag them over like that and start connecting them to, what is this a drawing layer? Yeah, I'm going to, oh, this is the final composite, isn't it?
The pupils don't.
Oh, I see what happened. You've duplicated the
Oh yeah, that
right,
bit, yeah.
So actually,
So that bit's not important?
well, you only want one of those, really.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the export of the stuff.
Oh.
So we've got this composite here, which then goes to where everything is going out. So that's fine. But just you had a second one set up over there, which can complicate things. So I'm just going to start connecting the bottom of this eye here. I'm assuming that is, yeah, that's a brow. And then I'm going to go and find, I'm going to select the brow peg and the whole eye peg. I'm going to use the animation tool just
you have to press Control to select it.
to select both of them. Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm just going to use that to use that to move them across there. And then there's this drawing tool up here which flips. Oh, so flip that.
Oh, so I can what? I can
And
copy and
then-
paste even the drawing of the eye.
Yeah.
What? So how did you do it? You press Control and
Control
then you press.
C.
Yeah.
And then paste special, and that pastes all of this information again, which includes the drawing files.
No, but I mean to do the eye.
Yeah,
you
so
just
so
did.
that is contained in this here that we've copy and pasted. All of
Okay.
that information is in these blue squares here.
But how did you get
It's
the
a
other
flip.
eye here? Yeah, to basically get another eye without drawing it.
So when I copied and pasted it, it just appeared directly on top of this one. So
Oh, did
I
it?
just moved it across. Yeah, so if
Oh.
we see.
Oh, so it was already there then.
Yeah, so this is just as we copy and pasted special. If I select both of them and I flip them, you see it's over there.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, open up. So this, move it across. Oh,
Oh, that brow isn't connected anymore. Oh yeah, that's
there we go.
It's not connected to the top as well. I don't know if it
Well,
matters.
it doesn't matter about it being connected at the top because we connect it to the head peg anyway. There we go. And then this button here flips it horizontally. I'll move that there.
Okay.
I'll find the pupil peg.
How did you do a split screen, by the way?
I just dragged it to the side.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't recommend it because you want to see as much of the information as possible, but sometimes it's what you need. There you go, and now you've got both.
Oh, where did my eye highlighter go?
Where did your eye highlighter go? Oh, it's because I haven't
Oh, right.
connected that in.
Traffic coming. What? That wasn't very nice.
Yeah, that goes in.
Not exactly a lie.
Like that.
Ah, oh my
I'm
god.
just going to use that peg to move it over to the side. And then in this case, when you paste, sometimes you'll need to redo those clipping things. So actually this one, we don't want going there. We want it to go into...
When you paste, what do you mean?
So when I copy...
Oh, when you copied and paste the whole
When
thing.
I copy and paste it across, some of the stuff got lost. So I'm going to add a composite there. So
Some of
that,
the stuff got lost.
actually, it doesn't look like it had. It just looked like maybe you'd made an error in the other eye of just the highlight wasn't fed into a composite to go into the cutter, which then meant the highlight could be seen outside. So if we go look at this one here.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, so see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
See the highlight goes outside.
Yeah.
That's because there's no cutter attached to the highlight.
Okay.
But that's easily fixed by just taking this line here, getting rid of that. I mean, you see where this cutter is, and this is what controls the eye being inside. If we put a composite in before that, we can have both the pupil and the pupil highlight affected by the same node, like that.
Gosh. How will I know all that?
It's
I'm
just
gonna have to
problem
correct
solving.
my mistake.
It's just when you learn how each individual bit affects each other, it's just problem solving after that. It's just getting used to it.
To do. So I've managed
this
to
is
like get
because
it.
This anchor point here is down there.
Oh, where did the anchor point come from?
So I'm gonna just click this. Yeah, you've done some transformations to it, so I'll just keep on doing until
Oh, you're
to how it
just-
was before.
Oh, okay. Oh, hang on. I didn't do that though. I made it actually. Oh no, because I was adjusting it as I was playing it here.
Okay. Oh, we can't go back any further. So first you've squashed it down a little bit, so I'm going to try and get it back out. Then that's the anchor point there. If I try and drag it back into the center.
So
the anchor.
that's just an anchor point for the transformator tool.
Yeah, it's the anchor point of where it like rotates and morphs around, and it's moved on both the drawing and the peg by the looks of it.
So why is that?
Who knows? So there's this button up here. These blue ones are like, they're called the advanced animation tools, and they're where you like set the pivot points. So I'm going to set the rotation point for the eyebrow to be where it goes there, actually in the middle like that. Let's see if we flip it there, we set that to be there, then you should be able to rotate it around like that, move it around there. So what was the transformation you were trying to do before?
I was literally just, because this eyebrow goes up, and I wanted this one to go up and to the side a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, we've had animation turned on. That's a shame.
Oh, what?
Just we've had the animation. This little yellow guy here.
Yeah.
It just means that the edits you make when keyframing animate, which is good most of the time, but just because I was fixing the anchor points and stuff moving around, it just means I've got to go through and delete the keyframes. It's not a big issue. So now that it's set like this,
Hang on, delete what keyframes?
just the ones automatically made when I moved stuff around. So in the same way where you're moving the eyebrow by moving here and using that tool to move stuff around,
Yeah.
I was doing that to try and reset it back to its original place. But because I had animation turned on, it read it as me animating rather than fixing it. But it's fine now. So as this one comes up, we'll also just move it up like that. And then this is the rotate tool here.
Oh, so I need to keep pressing that from now on.
Yeah, and then you can rotate it like that, and it will.
So I can't use the because I use the
So you
transform tool.
can, but like you see it, like it still rotates on the same bit. It's just this is better to use it with because you have that like extra UI stuff to go with it.
Okay.
Like that. There you go.
Okay, so you said it's always good that I need to keep that on.
Yeah, while you're animating, you keep that on.
Okay. And
When you do that, it's just kind of drawing.
oh, but just say I want to open and close it or make it talk.
Yeah, you would draw the poses. So there's a thing called a. Where's the mouse gone? Okay.
Oh, is it a bit slow now?
Hold on, I can show you here.
Oh, it's come up now. Adventure time, yeah, I know Adventure Time.
So there's these things called mouth charts. It shows you where there's just a stock set of shapes and stuff.
Okay.
And the easiest way to do mouth shapes is just you draw this these 10 poses.
Okay.
And then you just have them in a bank. In Toonboom.
In a bank.
So in Toonboom, there's this library up here. If we go down to this one here, which stores all your drawings in.
Oh, okay. So where did you get that from?
It's just automatically made. So if I add a new layer and I call it mouth, but spelled wrong, and on frame 1 I draw it like this, and then frame 2 I draw it like this, and I draw it like this.
What, you pressing to move the frames?
These 2 keys here.
Oh, okay, left
So
and right.
it's the full stop and the comma, but they've also got those crocodile things on the side which make it easier there. So I've got these
Yeah,
these
that's
different
so
shapes
cool.
here. But up here in the library we have, you see it's got this slider there,
Yeah.
which is for different shapes. So now I can go to here and I can move this around some of the drawings I've already done, and it sets it to be that drawing. So if at the start of animating I draw these 10 shapes here, I then have them stored in the library on this thing, and I can just go frame by frame, and instead of drawing it new each time, I just go, okay, that's frame 1, that's that shape that follows
Seriously?
after. Yeah, and then you make it.
So I just press that. So what do I press on here to make it go on there?
So you just go to the frame,
Yeah.
and you just slide this slider to drawing 1,
Oh my
2,
God.
3, and you've got that stored there. You see it leaves the gaps in between.
Yeah.
You can just select that and this button here, and that'll just fill in the frames.
Okay.
So now, I play it, you see the mouth moves around.
Wow, that is so much easier.
Yeah, it's great.
What? Okay, but I've got to draw them first. And then how did I get that? How did you get
So
that
this
out
is
of
just
nowhere?
this is just the library tab. So
Okay.
normally it looks like this, tool properties.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the tab next to it.
Wow. So it comes up when you do the mouth. What about if you draw other things?
It's the same for every drawing, for every layer you do.
Oh, okay. So then it will just come up for that
People use
particular
it for
thing.
hand shapes as well. If they draw hand like this, hand grabbing something or whatever, and then just you rig it, and then you set the frame 5, the hand closes like that, and the tween will handle this bit, and the frame by frame will handle that bit. So it's like creating video game sprites almost.
Okay, that's so good. Thank you.
This is the rig Francis will be using in his Maya workshop tomorrow, and also the one we recommend you use for Maya as a whole. It is the one called Max down here. You can see it's this guy over there. It's kind of creepy looking, but it is a really kind of robust, good rig to learn character animation of, not too many glitches, works really well.
He should never be allowed to get in here in the first place.
I really thought there would be like visuals to this animation.
Yeah, it's like one of those animations you see at the dentist.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see you try. You wouldn't last one day. Dude, I service society by rocking, okay? I'm out there on the front lines, liberating people with my music.
So basically, before our lesson, we have to download one.
No, so you'll download it in the lesson and
Oh,
get it all
okay.
set up and stuff. But just if you aren't making it to that lesson, this is where you can find the rig to use. Francis should be doing his full day of Maya soon, I think. But obviously we'll see because things have to move around a bit now.
So what would the name?
And I ended up using Photoshop at the end just because like I couldn't work on it.
Interesting. Let's see.
Oh, hang on. What did you do?
It might have just been that you didn't select the layer.
Oh,
so
are
when
you
you're
serious? But why
Yeah.
is it dark? Because if you go into drawing, it's like bright, which is what it was at the beginning as well. Why is it dark? Is there a reason for that, or? Oh, yeah, because isn't it supposed to be like that?
Do you mean the
I
back?
can't believe that was a simple thing I didn't select.
We can add something called. So it's currently dark
Yeah.
because that tells us that it's transparent in the background. Where in the final version, there wouldn't be anything behind there.
Oh.
If you want to add just a white background, you can go to the add here,
Yeah.
and then down to color card, and it just creates the background. I'm going to reorder it so we're on top of that there. But that just makes there be a color in the background, and now in the exported one, it'll be white in the background.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to deal with all those squares.
No, those are just to tell us
Oh,
that the
okay.
object's there when you go off of it.
Oh,
Just go like
right.
that.
And that box as well.
This box tells us where the edge of the canvas is, so we can draw outside of here, but if we click this icon here, the third one along,
Yeah.
it just shows us where the edge of that camera is.
Oh, so my legs are gonna be cut off.
Yeah, but we can move this, we can make this smaller very easily. I'm gonna... Did you draw this directly into?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you not want like a water
Just...
Well, I didn't want to, but I didn't know how to export anything, so I just had to draw it again. But it's not as good as my first one.
We can just
I did on Photoshop.
move it here. Just shrink it down slightly.
Oh,
Leave that out
okay.
being.
So you just, what did you do?
So I just
Quickly?
selected it all with the black arrow.
Yeah.
And then just the same as you edit anything, just moved it around
Oh,
and
okay.
shrank it a little bit.
Thank God. I can't believe, so I have to, the red line, yeah?
Yeah, this just tells you what window you currently have selected,
Okay.
which isn't an issue directly related to that, but it switches when you click onto it. This is just important for when you're like copying and pasting or using shortcuts. And if you have this selected and you do Control C, Control V, you're copying the frame down here. If you do it while you've got it clicked up here, you're copying the drawing that's up there and pasting it onto the same drawing there. Can just drag that down there
Wow.
like this.
But if I want to delete just the whole thing,
If you want
because
to delete the whole thing,
that's
it's
just
better
an
to
outline
use,
of my character. I don't even know how it got there.
it's better to just leave
Excellent.
that there. Now, I do see that this is all on the same layer,
Oh, don't tell me. What?
which
Is
means
that bad?
yes.
No.
But what we can do, we've got the base here, so we'll focus on copying the arm and the legs onto the arms, the legs, and the head onto a separate layer. What you've got going for you here is the fact that it's quite segmented character, which means that this shouldn't be too hard. It just means that you'll need to go into the head layer and draw around this element here, go into the body layer, draw around that there. So you'll just be connecting
And
the
like,
parts.
these are the layers, right?
Yeah, so if I show you what we're going to do.
Yeah, I do remember you doing that, but I think I got confused with just doing it on the palette or either way, I can't remember.
So I'll create the arm and...
Oh, okay, so you've selected the whole thing. Oh, but I still have to draw it.
So I'm just going to delete the color.
Is that the new code?
That's one of them, yeah. A lot of new ones.
So you're just pressing on the black lines too. So, so you don't have to draw it, right?
I'm just selecting what you've already drawn and we're going to copy and paste it across to the other layer. Actually, this will be easier if I also get rid of the color there, because I can do that, get it all.
Okay.
And then I go onto arm.
So what did you just press on the keyboard?
Control C.
To
copy it.
Copy it, okay.
And then I paste it onto that arm layer there. I see I've taken this with me here, which we shouldn't.
So if I wanted those boobs to move separately, but I guess maybe all together would be easier, right?
All together would be easier. What we'll do for these, either you can individually copy and paste them onto separate layers.
Okay, so it'd be boob 1 to like 100 or whatever.
Which might be easier if you just create one layer with one on, and then you can just duplicate it and place it down each time. So then you'll just draw one, rig one, and then you'll duplicate that every time like you would with the eye.
The boob, you mean?
Yeah. Or...
But then they... Okay.
Or what we can do is we can keep them all as one thing and add a deformer where they're going to move around as a group. And you won't have individual control over each one, but they'll still squash and stretch and stuff.
Okay, I think that sounds better.
So I've done here, I've put the arm onto its own layer. Where is your colour? There it is. I'm gonna fill it in.
But it's also you also get
Oh, there's a bit there that we're missing.
Oh, that white colour.
Yeah.
Is this ranked or unranked?
So you've just... What have you done?
So it's just a bit that I didn't copy and paste across from the other
Oh, okay.
one there.
You know.
So it's just
And how do you paste it with the...
Control V.
Control V.
Yeah. And then now I should be able to, as always, then copy and paste the colour into the colour layer. But now that this is its own individual element...
Oh, okay, so you always have to do it with the colour, when only the colour's on it.
Yes, so this is for the sake of rigging stuff later on, which we'll get into. But now that it's on its own individual layer, I can use this tool here to set where the pivot point is, to be in that shoulder, and then have that rotate like this as we want. I'm also going to, we'll experiment a bit with this, where if we add this as a deformer up here, where we create like a skeleton there like this, we expand this out. This will give us a bit of control to like morph it around like that. So now you can rotate the arm by moving it like this and then add that there like that for the other arm thing. This does get a bit messed up when you stretch it too far, you can see. So it'll only really be useful for just a little bit. I also feel like this character isn't the sort which is going to be swinging their arms around too much. The pegging stuff which we did last time, with attaching stuff to the face, that will be useful if you'll peg this arm here to the body. So when the body like shifts up and down, that arm is going to automatically rise and fall as well. So for the arm, you'll only need to animate it on this cycle going like this, and then the animation that you do on the body will take care of that up and down. Now
so then the body will have to be on separate than the boobs, by the way.
Yes. So now that we've copied the arm across to its own layer, you can see we're missing this bit on the body, obviously. But what we can just do is if we, because we're tailoring off this body here, and we're going to copy across the head anyway.
A ton of sugar in it, but if you get like apple juice, it's actually got more sugar.
Depends.
Yeah.
We can just go in with this here. can, you know, make the neck
I couldn't tell the difference between Coke Zero and Diet Coke because they're only
there like that, and then
with no sugar. Well, they use like a substitute to sugar.
fill that in. Oh, where's the missing gap here? It'll be there one too. Yeah.
So you just stretched it to fill the gap.
Yeah. We're missing something bigger that I'm not seeing here.
Is that a good thing that those are red?
Yeah, that just means they're hidden right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, bless you.
D.
D4.
Well, it normally makes the lines sharp, but it's not doing that on this one for some reason. Oh, that's why it's. I'm just on the wrong layer. You see, it happens to all of us. All right, so I'm gonna take
So
that.
annoying, isn't it?
Gonna take that line I drew.
And what did D do exactly?
D didn't do anything. I don't know why. It's, what layer did I draw that on? Oh, yeah, that's fair.
What are you trying to do now?
I'm just trying to find out why it's not filling in.
I cannot. Oh.
Yeah, so it's all in this layer.
I would be surprised.
This
if you
crosses
had
over with there.
No, I haven't gotten into any managers ever.
That all crosses over there.
I decided against it the moment I saw the.
So when the lines are all over it, that means there's no gaps.
Ah!
Oh, that tiny little thing there. Oh my god.
That might not be what's doing
I
it.
thought
but
you
it's
could
all
colour
over
it and use the colour like closer.
Yeah, I am, and I've got it's a Mac, so
Oh.
it shouldn't be worrying about things that small.
I keep running into it.
But there's something here.
And I mean it in a serious way. I
not
just
liking
came up
something.
with, guess what I met on the lip?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, because normally it even closes gaps that you can see. So
Yeah.
it's a bit weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to
He
be
wants
over
me to go
here.
to them.
Yeah.
He told me to go to
No.
them.
Because it will. So may I take the pass?
Weird.
It's just because this morning, along with the keys disappearing, every single bag in existence disappeared from our household for some odd reason.
That
So
works.
we ran out of bags, so we had a big one box.
Interesting.
Nothing strange.
Don't know why that would be, but okay, it's done now. So now that that's filled in, so I just switched it to paint up painted there, which just
Okay.
means that you can't fill in over anything that's already painted. I don't know why that worked, but it did. So now that that works there, you see we've got this whole body filled up, and we can just animate the arm. Move it. Animate the arm moving as much as we like. You see, now that we've moved it here, we've got that gap
Yeah, so
there.
I've got to colour that in.
So we're gonna add in
Oh, was that light bulb?
light bulb here.
Yeah, what is it?
It makes it so that the layer that you're currently working on is the only one which isn't a little bit transparent, which is why we can now see through the arm here. I'm gonna take this.
It's a bit like an onion skin.
Yeah. I'm gonna move that up there. Up there like this. And then the reason why we're doing this and we're not worrying about that there is the next thing you want to do is you want to go in and copy every bit of the face onto its own layer as well, which will then go in front of the neck.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah. Thanks. Woohoo! You make it look so easy.
The neck, and then we're going to do the arm instead because it's a bit more complicated than the leg. But I've made a layer for forearm, upper arm, shoulder, and hand. They are connected to comps, they are connected to pegs, and that is the peg structure there. Obviously, body connects to body peg, and then the descending order of the arm pegs, like so. Okay? And then I'm going to draw the stuff on each leg.
We're gonna have to make the character from the side though, right? As opposed to how you do.
Want to do it from a more free point of view,
No,
like this
go
one,
to-
then straight side arm. That is also fine because you'll still be able to do the running cycle like that.
The rotation sheet for this part is over. It's what I usually do for
Load from there.
You can use, let's use that tag colour that we made earlier. The purpose of this is to make sure that at the point that we rotate the arm around is a perfect circle. So on this guide layer, I'm just going to create a perfect circle here, like that. I'm going to select this so it's all the way on top. That's good. I'm going to fill that colour in, select it with a black arrow tool, and then shrink it down. Yeah, holding Alt and Shift, I'm going to shrink that right down to the central point. So we've got this shape here where we've got a circular outline, which is the width of the arm we're going to create, and we've got a dot directly at the center. I'm going to copy that, I'm going to delete it and move it to be directly on top of, and then directly down, and then up. It needs to be directly on top of, and then sorry.
Trying to move it down.
Yeah, so it deselects things really annoying sometimes.
Hang on, what did you say you did first?
So I made this circle.
I mean, before that.
I drew the body.
I mean, do you start doing the circle that you're doing now? What did
That's
you do?
just using the ellipse tool.
No, I mean like.
Okay, so I've drawn the body. I'm going to add a new layer called guides.
Oh,
The purpose of this is to create a guide for us when I'm drawing the arm to make sure that we use these circles exactly as we're pivot points around.
And how did you do the guide layer again?
Just add a new drawing layer. So
Oh, okay.
This button here.
Okay. And you called it guides.
And I called it guides. I'm going to take that, I'm going to do that 3 times. Move it around. Probably done this a bit long, so I'm going to move that like that. And I'm going to use a straight line to try and make sure that they are all see this one's just a little bit off. And then like that. Well, I've got my guides layer. I'm going to take the colour that I used, I'm going to turn the opacity down on it. I'm going to copy these all across to my forearm layer. To my upper arm layer, to my shoulder layer, to my hand layer, and that's because we're going to have to use these circles to construct.
So when you copy it, you're pasting it onto the
I'm pasting
boxes.
it onto the other layers. Yeah.
Okay.
And then from that, I'm just going to go and start drawing. So I'll start with the shoulder, here where I'll leave the top of this circle unchanged, but start to move this out. Change it to be totally black. Good. connect these two circles. Square like this. And use the cutter tool to get rid of the overlapping elements there. See if I make it so it's just this layer visible. Like this. See, we're creating these oval or these rectangles with the perfectly circular ends to them using those circles. And we're going to do the exact same for the forearm. Again, we want the top of it to go right through where that dot is there. And right through where this dot is here. And black, and then get rid of the overlapping lines.
What's that one next to the light bulb?
This
Yeah.
puts whatever layer you're currently working on top.
Oh,
So it
okay.
just moves it up to the surface.
And what's the zigzag lightning thing?
This,
Yeah.
who knows?
Oh, okay, because you got it on, right?
Yeah. It says bypass problematic nodes, but I don't know what problematic node is.
Oh.
And then just fill it in like that. So we've got these shapes being created here. Shoulder, fill that in with the shirt. One. Actually, I'm going to make some changes to how the shoulder looks. Just going to drag that sleeve out a bit more. Like so. Now what we do now that we've got this is we go onto the pegs for each individual bit. So we'll start with the shoulder peg, and using that rotate tool that we used last time, we're going to select on that and we're going to move the pivot point of this peg to be perfectly at the center of this point here, like so. So it's right in the edge. So now when we move it, it rotates around that circle perfectly. And you see, because of the peg setup, we've got the rest of the arms going with it. We do the same with the upper arm peg, where we move that rotation center to be right here. Oh no, sorry, excuse me.
So how come for my one you didn't need to do the pink circles?
Because we aren't doing multiple areas like this. Well, sorry, with the upper arm one, that is obviously still here. This bit. And then the rotation tool for the forearm. Right, so there. Rotate that around. Perfect. And I'm going to go in and remove just those extra pink circles we have.
So did you have to copy and paste the rotation thing as well or not?
No rotation thing, but the pink guy.
Oh, okay.
And now what we have set up is anyway, if we now get rid of the guy there. This one. Sorry. We hide the hand as well. So now we've got a system where using the rotate tool we can rotate the shoulder around and the rest of the arm will follow. We can rotate just the upper arm, and that will move independently of the sleeve that we've got there. We don't want to use this so much, but it's good for some extra additional movement of the clothing. And then we have the elbow joint here made as well, so that can now rotate perfectly around. Now the next thing that we have to deal with is obviously the fact that we've got this big black line filling in over here, and this is where the nodes come in. Now we do use cutters for these, as we do everything else, where we are going to take that setup that we had before and just apply it to all of them. So I'm just going to start doing that now. I'm just going to start taking some time to apply all of this to Okay, now we're going to go from the upper arm over here, and we're going to take that line art and put it through a cutter and connect that to the forearm color art layer. So reverse it. Oh, sorry, no, I don't want to reverse that. And move it like that, and then we take the same pencil and we take that. We add that to the color art layer.
Do you just do that?
I'm just taking the colour for the individual arms and making sure that they are on the colour layer. Like so. And now that we've added that cutter, you can see there we have this set up here, where wherever the arm crosses over with that place at the rotation, it bends in. So you see at the edge there, the line art is automatically cutting off as the arm moves up and around. Like so. Now it looks a bit janky here because we've got this big, like outstretched bit there. That should be solved by using the auto patch, which is a different type of node. See, it's up here, and we're going to attach that to the upper arm, like this. And that should feed into, hold on, sorry, my notes are complicated a little bit. That should then feed in.
So what have you attached it to?
Hold on, sorry. This is where it gets really complicated, so just give me a second. Use an auto patch node rather than using a cutter node in order to have these crossover. This is for the purpose of making that color art layer perfectly shrunk down to be behind the line art layer. Now there's still a little jankiness which is left over from when we drew it using the cutter tool here. As you can see at
So hang on, so you're saying, so from the beginning, what should we, because you said...
This is just for the lens, right? It's not related to anywhere else. But you should just be able to draw the upper arm on one layer, and you separate it out into color art and line art. You draw the forearm on one layer, and you separate it out into color art and line art. And then this is the rigging setup you want here in your nodes, where they both feed into a composite down here, which arrives at the end of the arm composite, and then both have an auto patch node attached to it, which arrives in front of the composite with the line art and the color art layers on it. Here. What this does is it moves the auto patch to the front, so it supersedes any of the drawing information in those drawing layers, and instead sends to the computer the information to have them automatically move like this. Where when we rotate it, it does that automatic masking of the lines at the end there, which then means that we can have up here this move there, and if we move to the timeline, I'll just do some basic animation with it. So if we add a keyframe here for the shoulder, and then here again, and we move it to there, it's going to automatically move it like that. But if back here on this one, we go down to the lower arm peg, move it out there, you'll see it'll automatically move up. Like that. You see it has that automatic bend, and then we can go here and we can extend that back out again, and we can rotate the shoulder one there, and it'll move like so. You see the way that that line art at the elbow joint there automatically moves and changes around to account for the fact that the arm is moving in. We can then do the same by if we go to the, where are you hand? If we go to the hand, and let's just
Why don't you ever draw freehand? Like, why do you always do it?
One, because I'm using the mouse, but two, it creates these much cleaner meshes, which is important for rigging rather than freehand animation. So the kind of warp and distorting I'm doing, I'm getting a lot more control over it than I do than I would with the brush tool. But it's much easier to edit after the fact. Make sure you're working on the right layer as always. Let's get rid of these. Place them in there. Fill that in. Copy this. Paste onto the fill layer, and now you can see that same principle applied there. And we'll take the auto patch, take the comp, put the hand in the composite, put the auto patch outside of it, plug that in ahead of the hand, and then oh sorry, they don't need to do this. So as long as all of your drawings are showing up behind the three auto patches you create for the nodes here, you'll see that now we have this. If I show the pegs, you can move that to the there, and we can move the hand around. And you'll see that the hand is going to walk with it as well, like that. So there you go. So if I leave this rather messy node configuration up here, just to show you all. So you do all the drawings, you separate them out into line art and color art. And then at those points where they cross over, you make sure you have perfect circles and you set the pivot points of your pegs to be right in the center of that circle. This all means that when they rotate around, elements aren't going to stick out outside of the elbow. There's not going to be weird joints popping out in places. And then you plug in auto patch nodes into each of the layers you've drawn for your limbs, and you plug them in front of all the drawings you've done for your limbs. You'll have perfectly walking line art for your limbs. And then you can do this for the arms and both the legs, and you animate them around using keyframes, and then you'll be able to animate a run cycle with it. Now that was a bit messy, and I apologize. Does anyone